chicken noodle soup, one of the great icons of United Statesian soup, where a simple cup full of stock and noodles can send you back to your childhood and warm your winter bones. So I'm going to warm this enameled braising pan. You don't have to use this. You can use really anything with a lid. I like a wide and shallow surface for especially what I'm going to be using today. And then here I've just got a pot of water that's heating up. That's where our pasta is going to go. First thing I'm going to do is get these chicken thighs going. We already made our stock, but unfortunately there's no chicken in it. So now we're going to add even more chicken flavor by adding my favorite part of the chicken, the thigh. Dry them off a little bit on that paper towel. And for this, I don't even need to season the thighs. Seasoning is going to go in all throughout the soup making process, so I'm just going to get them in the pan. No oil. There's going to be plenty of fat that's going to render off of that chicken skin. When the skin's ready to release, it will release semi-easily. It's not ready yet. Get a little garlic going in here too. What was I thinking? I always add garlic. And around the time that I flip them, I'm just going to kind of move them off of their fawn spots and add my onions. Get those started in that chicken fat. Once those have had about 5 minutes aside, I'm gonna take them off. They're not done yet. We're just gonna change some things. Carrots, celery goes in, garlic. I'm gonna get these all nice and coated in chicken fat. Once I start to smell that garlic, in goes my acid. So for this, I'm going to use a little white wine vinegar. No, actually, I think this would be nicer. A little dry vermouth. There we go, now it's coming up. Once this pan gets hot again, and everything's sort of simmering and steaming, I'm going to put my chicken back in and start my braise in the chicken stock that we made. Once we've got some steam, once we've got a simmer, I'm gonna go in with, this is a quart or a liter of that brown chicken stock that we made from those chicken feet. And I want just a little bit more in there. There we go. When you're braising, your meat should just be poking out like little turtles. This is going to come to a boil. I'm going to cover it and I'm going to put it in the oven. Braises work because they're low and slow, and meat with a lot of connective tissue in it, that is a hard-working muscle, will break down differently than something like a chicken breast, which just needs the hard sear on both sides and cooked all the way through, and you want to go pretty medium-high. This needs low and slow, which is a lot of the reason that something like a Thanksgiving turkey generally doesn't turn out that well, because you're trying to cook these thighs at the same temperature for the same time as this breast. So we're just gonna let this go for like 45 minutes, an hour. Chicken thighs don't need a lot of time as opposed to something like a shoulder roast, but we're still gonna let the time over heat equation work its magic. But while we're doing that, we can work on our pasta. Now this is what I like for chicken noodle soup. The entire country of Italy, please forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, but I believe it's ciccioli. And this is important too. Extruded with bronze dyes. Bronze will have more sort of textural difference than, say, a Teflon dye or an aluminum dye. That's what you crank the pasta through, and it's just going to hold on to sauce better. And then low temperature drying, that's just going to create more flavor in the pasta itself. So I like what they're doing to this pasta, but in particular I like this pasta because it's cut off on one end. There we go. It's closed off on one end and open on the other with a nice big hole, and that just holds on to all of those ingredients that we just diced, that we just made into small squares. So we never want to assume that any two pastas are the same. Cook time, 12 minutes. So what that means is not that we throw it in the pot for 12 minutes. It means that I'm going to start testing it at 10 and see where it goes. We're going to take this out of the cook water, but then we're going to add it to the soup, and the soup might cook it a little bit more. First thing I do when it boils, with salt, and the salt is for flavor. It's for flavoring your pasta. Alright, we've got some 10-minute pasta. I'm just going to shock in this ice water here for a second. Directions said 12 minutes. That's exactly what I want. I'm glad I checked it. We're just going to shock that so it stops cooking. Perfect, it's nice. It's cooked, but it's still chewy. That's what you want. Alright, let's take all these chicken thighs and we're gonna shred this meat. Mix it back in. Get our pasta going inside, and we'll have soup. Oh, those just come right apart. I'm already halfway through. This is delightful. I'm gonna change this camera angle so that you can see. Just need to get all the bones out of there. There should only be 4. 1 bone per thigh. Oof. What I have here, I want to be about 4 servings, but it's difficult to tell until you actually get it in the bowl. Get that chicken and those vegetables down there, and then some pasta in as well. A little more broth. And I like to mix those ingredients in with the noodles. Let those noodles have their superpower, which is to kind of absorb ingredients and have them kind of rest in those cavities. And the rest of this I'm going to divide up into lunches. Maybe with the noodles it'll be more like 5 servings. So to have this for lunch and not have it lose as much quality, I'm going to pack these noodles cold, and I'm also going to wait for this soup to cool to room temperature so that when I put the soup on top of the noodles, it doesn't cook the noodles more. Then, when I'm at work, I can pop this whole thing in the microwave, and the whole thing is going to be as fresh as it can be. But meanwhile, let's taste. Get one of those noodles. And even though there's no cream in here, it is very creamy and delicious with those chicken feet that we used, all of that collagen in the soup itself. Those onions lending a little sweetness, that carrot lending a little earthiness, the celery is just a little bit crisp. Alright guys, get in the kitchen, make yourself something amazing. I forgot my parsley garnish. We're gonna have some more soup for you next week.